All right, then we invaded southern France, August 15th, 1944. Drove up the Rhone Valley all the way to Strasbourg on the Rhine. They had good fortifications, but they weren't fully manned. And besides that, Hitler gave their order pretty quickly to pull back, because by this time, they'd already landed in Normandy, and they got a lot of problems up north. They don't need more problems down south. They can't handle both ends, and he needs the 19th Army back there anyway to help him with what's going on in the north. But they couldn't just turn and retreat, because we'd run them down. So they had to fight delaying actions while they got that 19th Army out of there. And the Germans are very good at that. They were very good soldiers, don't count. They're professionals. And they knew how to fight delaying actions with committing a very small percentage of their assets. They know how to ambush you enough to make you advance a little carefully. And so that's mainly what it was. And there were 2 or 3 places where they put up a fight on the way up, Besançon and Mont-Lamar and a few places. Then we got to started getting into the Vosges Mountains. That's when they started. That's where they made the stand. They were falling back to the Vosges Mountains where they could dig in, and that's when it started getting tough again. I missed a portion of the Vosges Mountains, but I had been wounded October 17th. Well, like I say, the Germans were fighting delaying actions, and they're near Belmont, France. We had encountered a few enemy, and then they'd withdrawn. So, wrong about 5 o'clock in the evening, we had a little firefight with a delayed action, and they fired a few shots and pulled back. And so it was getting near dark, and so we were told to dig in and hold there until we got further orders, and we were on the front slope of a hill. And so we started digging our machine guns in, and I was at this time I'm now a section leader of 2 machine guns, and so I'm helping one of the guns, taking turns with them, helping to get the gun dug in. And I was taking a turn at digging, and I heard something behind me. I heard some voices behind me. I turned and looked, and there was the first lieutenant and a radio operator, like they were on a Sunday school picnic, sitting on the forward slope of that hill in broad daylight. And I turned to the lieutenant. I said, "Lieutenant," I said, "you might want to not be so exposed." I said, "We might get fired on any time." He said, "Oh, no. G2 reported this area cleared long ago." I said, "Sir, we had a little fight about 10, 15 minutes ago." So, down there's a tree-lined roadway. Pretty dense trees. You can't see what's on the road. All of a sudden, for about no more than 10 seconds after I told the lieutenant that the enemy, we'd just encountered him just recently, he opened up with an aircraft flak wagon, ACAT guns, 40 millimeter, boom, 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 and the 30 caliber machine guns will coax with them. Boom, 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 boom. It was that deal. Well, the first shell burst about 6, 8 feet in front of me, aerial burst, and it hit me in the leg. So I went down into the hole right quick. And the number 1 gunner who was, I was helping dig the hole, I hollered, Goebbels, I'm hurt. I'm hit. And I looked over my shoulder, and he was headed for the hill, and I don't blame him. And the lieutenant and his radio operator, they were breaking over the skyline around that crest of the hill. And I looked around. That's the thing to do when you're caught in the open on the front slope of a hill, and there's an enemy ACAC, 40 millimeter ACAC, spraying 40 millimeter shells all over the place. You get the hell out of there. Now here I am, flat, in a shallow hole that's not deep enough for protection. With arrow bursts, a hole doesn't protect you much anyway. So I decided, now I gotta think about this. And the machine gun was sitting just in front of the hole there a little bit. I thought, well, let me see if I can spot them. If I can see where they are, I might can fire on them. Well, as soon as my head came above ground, boom, 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 those things were popping again. The machine guns first, and then about a second later comes the ACAC back down again. I said, wow. Was that coincidental, or are they looking at me? I tried again. As soon as my helmet would break the surface, boom, 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 boom. I could see the leaves coming. There's a hedge right there to my left. I could see the leaves coming out of the hedge where those bullets were flying through them. I said, okay, sooner or later, they're going to get you. The officer's got his field glasses right on you, and that gunner's got his finger on the trigger. You're not going to get a shot. You got to figure a way out of here. So I pulled my right leg. I wasn't sure about my left leg because I'd been hit there. If the bone wasn't broken, I'd be okay. I had to take a chance. So I pulled my right leg up like a frog getting ready to jump, you know. And my plan was raise my head, get them to fire again. When that last shell bursts, I'm out of there. I had left my rifle leaning against a log behind that hedge, about 10, 15 feet over there. I was going to dash under, duck low under the hedge, grab my rifle, and right behind me, about 15 or 20 yards, was a little stone chapel, a marble chapel, or granite, whatever it was. And I figured a lot of the guys had gone in there for protection anyway. I thought I could make it. So I did. I raised up, and they opened fire, like I said. I pushed off, and fortunately my leg was good. I ducked low under that hedge, grabbed my rifle, and then that meant that they had to find me again and change their aim. And by the time they located me again and opened fire, I dove behind that chapel, and I could see the splinters coming off that stone building as I dove behind it. And so that was another close one.
Any other close calls like that?
In 7 campaigns, of course. This is too much about me.